Hey, happy Friday, everybody. A little late getting here. Had a busy morning. Hope your morning's going very, very well. But those of you that have been paying any attention to the market whatsoever, you've seen that things have been all over the place. I mean, the market's been up, the market's been down, it's been sideways. We've been having job growth, we've been having layoffs, we've been having lack of growth. And the reality is, none of it matters, but all of it matters, right? When you're really looking at what you're doing with your daily life and how you're preparing for that day, that's going to tell you everything you need to know about what's going on in your life. Because if you're having trouble getting your thought process dialed in to go process today, it doesn't matter what the stock market's doing, it doesn't matter what Bitcoin's doing, right? But if you have that mental capacity dialed in and you got your personal world squared up and straightened up, you're going to have the bandwidth to process those things. One of the things that a lot of people do is they say, none of that matters to me. And it does, but they don't have the ability to process it. They don't have the desire to look outside their own little world and get involved in a bigger picture and see the macroeconomics or the microeconomics. Macroeconomics is the bigger picture of what's going on out there and how that really will affect them because they're so consumed with getting through today. How many of you are there? How many of you know friends and family that are there? They just can't process it. Their life is so busy, it's so full of stuff that they really just can't wrap their head around what it means when the NASDAQ goes up 500 points. They can't wrap their head around it when Bitcoin goes to 47,000. They just don't understand. Is that you? Is it information overload? Is it just lack of understanding? Is it lack of bandwidth? I bet it's lack of presence. Not the kind around Christmas, guys. You know better than that. It's the presence to know what's going on in your life. It's the personal evaluation of what's happening inside of you and what are you doing for your emotional health and how are you getting that through? Because when blockchain goes to $1 trillion or 200,000, it's not going to change your world because you didn't invest in it, because you didn't have the bandwidth to understand how to find a half an hour to sit down and watch the video about what goes on with blockchain. That's the truth. Or what happens with buying a house and how getting pre-qualified is something you have to do in order to be able to do that because you're absolutely maxed out. And how many of us run that hard every day, all day long, to where we can't figure out what's going on in our personal lives? They're so busy. We don't get it. We don't have time to think about it. We're driving down the road. We're not even paying attention to what's in front of us because we're too busy thinking about how in the world we're going to get through this stinking month of happy festivities. How many of us are there? How many of us have just had news overload, COVID overload, whatever else you want to look at, overload in general? How many just wished for a quiet place? Now they're selling you a spa experience where they take and lock you in a dark room. It's called immersion therapy, where you lay in a bath of salt water. They shut off all the sound. They make it completely quiet. They take your cell phone away, and you sit there. I'd lose my mind personally. I couldn't sit there, right? I couldn't lay there. But now the whole thought process, we see this all over the place. Do you think you could go in the woods and stay there for 30 days with no outside communication, and people are begging for that? That's now considered a retreat, a non-electronic event, because we're overloaded and we don't know how to process it and we can't push forward and we sit there and we spin. How do you cry for help? How do you figure that out? How do you know what to do next? And I think that's the place that a lot of people find themselves in, especially during the holiday season, where they can't figure out what to do next. And I know that that's not an easy place to be. I've been there. I know that that's not a comfortable place to be, where you have to ask for help and you have to admit that you can't handle what's going on. But I'm here to tell you that doing it now is much better than doing it once you become completely overloaded. And then life begins to spiral. And this is not a downer message, guys. This is the fact that there are people around you that care about you, like myself and like others, that want to know What can we do to help you during this holiday season that's not always happy and not always holidays for everybody? Because it's not always fun to be alone. It's not always fun to be overloaded. It's not always fun to have to deal with all this stuff that's coming at us. I used to think that getting old would be wonderful because I would know everything. And then I realized the older I get, the more I realize I don't know anything. And there's so much more going on in this world that I don't even begin to understand, let alone have the bandwidth to process that my parents didn't even have on their plate. There was no cell phones, there was no apps, there was none of this stuff that I now find normal, and I can't even get my head around what my kids are being exposed to as far as new technologies, new experiences, and new things that are happening in a positive light. And so it's very easy to become consumed and overwhelmed with everything that's out there. But I'm challenging you with this: put the phone down, connect with your family, connect with your friends, connect with the people around you. Don't jump on the train and put your headphones in. Talk to the person in the seat next to you. It'll be weird. It'll be awkward. It won't be fun. It will feel foreign. Trust me, the person I sat to on the last plane flight thought the same thing. But we got through it. I actually kind of liked it. I don't know if she did or not, but I did. But that's what we're here to do for each other. We're here to learn about what we can do to help each other, to get better at what we do, to overcome what we don't know, and become a better citizen of this planet and be of a help to our fellow man, especially during this holiday season. So, guys, take care. Have a great weekend. Spend some time figuring out if you want to get busier or if you want to get better at what you're already doing. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon.